Angela, I did want to tell you, I know because you have to go, but I did want to tell you a lot of the comments last week were of great concern, and they're like, Angela's losing her voice, and Andrew, don't cough on Angela, and is she getting rest? So I think people just want to hear how you're doing, and whatever you want to say about the tour, where you're headed next, anything about that.
Well, I'm sitting in St. Mark AME Zion Church in Durham, North Carolina.
Shout out to the AMEs.
The AME Zions are different, but sure, we can shout out the AMEs.
Oh, I didn't
too.
hear the Zion part. My bad, but yes.
AMEs and the Kojics are actually official partners on the tour.
I love that.
This has been incredible. In Durham, we had a town hall meeting in another AME church, St. Joseph's, right by North Carolina Central yesterday. This is also right by North Carolina Central. But what was fascinating about that conversation is we were sitting there at a church that was established in 1869. And so they're used to doing this kind of organizing work around our freedom and our liberation. There was going to be a setup where the moderator asked the questions for the audience. And instead, as you all know, we always choose to hear directly from the folks. Yeah. What's your name and where you from?
Yeah.
So I walked with the mic, and we had this brother, his name is Bradford. Shout out to Bradford, who talked about Black folks not knowing what time it is, really. Talked about like developing his own alkaline water plant, talked about the ways in which he farms. I'm going to visit his farm Thursday morning before I leave. I'm changing my stuff so I can go to this farm Thursday morning. And what he said was, there are certain things we need to get in place for the times ahead. And what I'm thinking about is the fact that if this timeline that is projected, there's a CNBC article that came out that's talking about if the tariffs are to have the economic impact that is suspected, there will be significant amount of goods not on shelves in May, just in a couple of weeks. So if we don't know what time it is now, and we can't come together during the State of the People Power Tour to determine how we will take care of ourselves in this moment, I don't know what we're going to do. But Bradford's assignment is to give us the top 5 things that Black people need to do to hunker down and survive in this moment. I think that the shelves will look like they did during COVID. I think that we will have the same type of water shortages, paper towels, toilet paper that we did during COVID. And it's, again, based on the CNBC piece. I'm going to make sure that we actually get it as a link for our audience. But Apollo Global Management put out a report about this, and I think that we should look into it. The other thing that I was going to say is we will be, when y'all hear this podcast, either we will be in Birmingham or having just left Birmingham over the weekend. We're going everywhere from New Orleans to Louisville to Los Angeles to Detroit. And we ask that you sign on. If you can't sign on, watch the live stream. Watch the live stream from Atlanta this past weekend. It was incredible. And the energy just feels so good. I also just want to shout out our research producer, Lolo, because life still lives, and human beings, even on this tour, are still having a very human experience. Lolo lost her cousins over the weekend in a tragic car accident. And I'm saying that to say that our first priority on this tour is not pushing policy or chastising people for what they did or didn't do. It's about taking care of the human being first. So we have to first ask each other, even on this podcast, what do you need? What do you need? Are you okay? And wait and listen for the answer and see if it's a need that you can solve. Whether you're a listener or you're a host, you're a producer, what do you need? We get so short with each other. I was mad at Nick earlier today. I was like, put me in the game, coach. What are we doing? Like, I want to hear what Tiffany and Andrew are saying. I want to come in here tomorrow. But I think that even in that, like, we're such in a rush to give people information. We can't run over the humans that help us pull this off every single week. So I love y'all. I appreciate your patience with me and my voice during this time. I hope it comes back. If not, I'm just going to be a raspy. I'm in the church.
Why you in there with me?
Donkey voice. At least I'm not in the sanctuary.
And you in the church. You in the church.
You in the church. And the church.
Hallelujah,
You about to join the
Jesus.
pastor.
I was saying raspy asking question voice
Yes, raspy asking. Yes,
raspy asking
for
questions.
a little while, but just pray that it comes back because it's really annoying.
I like
Anyway.
that voice.
It was.
I do not. It sounds like I just woke up all day. Stay woke. I sound like I'm stay asleep. Thanks.
I want to know more about the guy. When you go to the farm, if you can take video, that maybe we can share if he's comfortable. Because I'm telling y'all, that's what I'm on right now. Like, what do you need? How can we be okay? And if this dude is like, what do we need? And he got well water, and he's like, let's build community.
Not well water.
I mean, honestly, because
uncontaminated.
I thought he had okay. Because I mean, there is something to that, to us growing our own food. You know, as the FDA is falling apart, there is something to us. As we used to. There's something to us building community. And when I say building community, I don't mean in the abstract way. I mean literally building homes in areas close to each other where we can be there for each other. And have our own, marketplace with each other, recreating what used to exist, and in the 19th, right, in the early part of the 19th century. I really think it's time for that.
Tiff, right?
And later. I just mean the time where it did exist, they destroyed it all. So the Red Summer, they burned down our community.
And the only reason why I say later is because some folks may think we had to be here during slave day, enslavement periods, to have known what it felt like to grow your own.
And that's not true.
And it doesn't take all that. I mean, as a kid, I have very vivid memories of in the backyard picking lettuce, picking collard greens, shelling. I mean, we grew every kind of fruit. Now, I lived in Miami at that point, but my grandmother and grandfather taught us that. We fished for fish. We had chickens for poultry. I mean, we didn't have to rely on it, but we still grew it. We still planted it. We still picked it. And I did that as a kid. And so it shouldn't feel so remote and like another worldish for folks to think about, Tiff, the kind of, I think, beloved community that you describe where we do rely on and take care of ourselves. And Angela, to your earlier point around shelves being empty, you had the CEOs of Walmart, you had major sort of leaders of industry in the retail space get down to the White House and say, Mr. President, I want to predict for you that we're going to have empty shelves. There will be shelves that are empty in this country if the tariffs stay as they are. So if it happens, y'all, it ain't because they didn't know about it, which ought to send us really spiraling in concern. If it happens, it's not because the government didn't know.
Can I just tell y'all where I'm going this weekend?
Yeah,
I am headed back to Michael Harriet's house. I love.
Hey, speaking of self-sufficiency,
that's what I'm telling you. This man could build a whole community on his property. I won't say exactly where he lives, but he in the backwoods somewhere, like mostly off the grid, but got acres on acres on acres. And it looks like a museum the way that he has constructed his house. It's a former plantation. The slave quarters are still, he fixed them up, and his mother-in-law lives in, he got his mom-in-law living in the slave quarters, but it's like a beautiful, it's like a 4-bedroom house. It's beautiful, but it's just such a great place to write and research and read. And, he's such a historian and an intellectual person, just to have conversation with him and his wife, who's amazing too. So I'm going back there for a little while, to write and read and research and, just connect, but also explore what it looks like. That's why when Angela said that, I perked up. Like, wait, he got a farm? He's doing what?
Yeah.
Because I really would love for us to get back to that. And I think with the way we're going, it might be. Angela, if you said I'm gonna buy property in Mississippi. And I'm thinking of just being a pioneer. If you said, I'm going to buy property in Mississippi, I'm going to be a pioneer, and I'm going to buy some property in Mississippi, and I'm going to build up this place, who down? I promise you, I'd be like, you know what? I'm open to that. Andrew, if you're like, I'm getting acres in Florida.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm broke, but I'm in it.
If you said Florida, I mean, I would be completely open to that, because I think that's what the ancestors did for us when they did the Great Migration North. It might be time for
I think we should have
reverse
migrationists come on and talk about. I mean,
we also have farmers. We have Acre Boys. There's a group called Acre Boys. I can't remember if I told y'all on this show, but Acre Boys came to the Atlanta stop. They're giving away an acre of land during our tour. They're giving away an acre of land. They want to give away more, but they need sponsors to buy it. They wanted to give away an acre in every stop. But
that would be great guests. If they would make great guests, I would love to talk to them. They would love
to come on here. Let's have them on next week.
I would love to.
They would love to come on. They are incredible. They already have a show. A lot of people followed them. They did a workshop that was packed, telling people about how to acquire land in the process. Super good. So they would love to do that. I love it. I'll tell them.
I think we should also couple Dr. Kenesha Grant and some of the others who have written extensively on this, on the Great Migration and what it would take for reversal migration in some places where, I mean, Mississippi ain't that far from folks becoming a majority, from people of color becoming a majority. Yeah. And yet it's a state that is almost 50th out of 50th in nearly everything because of their refusal to invest in our people, our community. And they fail to realize that a rising tide really does lift all boats. You invest in this group of people, all y'all gonna make money. Yep. It may not even be our intention. It just happens to happen that way when you do it the right way. Totally. But they're not committed to that. But I think that'd be a fascinating conversation to begin, because most people think it's just out of touch and out of reach. And I think they need to hear and feel some real examples of where it's possible.
I agree. Well, I know Angela has to go. She's going to lead a workshop. You are headed to North Carolina?
I'm Alabama, in North Carolina. We go to Birmingham next. So we have a rally tonight based on when this is recorded. And we have Birmingham up next.
Well, safe travels on the road. Congrats on everything happening on the State of the People tour.
We can't wait to join.
Yes, we will be joining on one of the stops, so stay tuned for that. And listen, you guys, we really appreciate you all sending in your questions, videos, comments, everything. We want to encourage you to continue to send those in. This is your home too, and a platform for you to share your thoughts, comments, whatever you need.
Native Land Pod is a production of iHeart Radio in partnership with Reason Choice Media. For more podcasts from iHeart Radio, visit the iHeart Radio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.